Good afternoon. Lieutenant Matt Propp with the Bernalillo County Fire Department. Today we're going to be talking about the Canberra UltraRadiac isotope detection monitor. This is a new monitor for the Bernalillo County Fire Department. It's going to be placed on all first out units, both the engines, the trucks, and the rescues. So we're going to discuss what this monitor does, its use of operation, and a little bit of maintenance for it. What this monitor should be doing for you is alerting you to the presence of radiation and giving you the opportunity to isolate, deny entry, and request resources. We want to stabilize the event, get people out of the area, and make our own personnel aware that there's a danger in that area. So listen for your rate alarms. That's going to be your first indicator of a problem. If you're staying into that scene for a while, you're going to start to monitor that dose rate. So let's talk about what the monitor does. This is an isotope radiation detector. This monitor will only detect gamma radiation, and there's a reason. The casing on the monitor will not allow alpha or beta particle radiation to enter to the sensor. Particles are too big to get through this casing, therefore the only thing this monitor is going to be able to detect is gamma radiation. So why is that important to us? When we arrive at any perceived hazardous material scene, suspicious package, suspected terrorist event, we want to make sure that we're monitoring as soon as possible. What I recommend is even as you're onto the approach of the scene, this monitor be turned on and active. Gamma radiation can move through our vehicles, the windshields, the doors. We'll be able to see anything as we're approaching a scene if this monitor is turned on. So if you're responding to anything that seems suspicious or you have an intention of terrorism from dispatch, if it's a suspicious package, let's just get in the habit of turning this on and having it ready. The cool thing with these monitors is they're pretty self-sustaining. One thing that we want to remember with this monitor is that it takes 4 AAA batteries housed in this compartment here. The important thing to remember with this is that these batteries need to be cycled out about every 3 months. Reason being not that the batteries go bad, but these monitors are prone to corrosion within the battery. We've chosen not to store the monitors without the batteries. We're keeping the batteries in them, but because of that, we need to cycle them out about every 3 to 6 months. So a little bit of operation, there it is there. Little quarter turn opens the panel, the 4 AAA batteries. Close the panel back up, align the screw. Each of these monitors comes with the case. The cool design with the case is that it allows continual operation, and it gives you a little flap here, which you'll notice is that the flap is big enough that you'll be able to slide the buckles from your SCBA through here. Idea being that you can keep this on the belt of your SCBA if you need to, and you're still able to look at the monitor to see what kind of readings you're getting. There is a light in case you're in low light conditions. You just press that and it illuminates the display. So we'll talk about the function of the monitor. On the bottom right is the on-off switch. Just to press that and it turns on. And what you're going to notice is the monitor is going to run through a little self warm-up. It's going to do its own calibration. It's taking fresh air readings. This is your clear or test function. We do not want you to press this if you're on an active scene. What I recommend is at the beginning of the shift, when you do your morning check, you take this out of the truck, walk out to fresh air, hit clear test, let the monitor recalibrate, and it should be good to go. If you've been in an area and you have a presence of radiation, even if it's just atmosphere or background, you can go out to another area, clear it, reset, and it should do its own self-test. The thing that's important to remember is that background radiation is natural just about anywhere you go. If we're in areas that have a lot of concrete or asphalt, that radiation level is going to be a little bit higher. You really should not expect to see zeros on this monitor for anything. If we're looking at our rate, our atmospheric radiation is typically between 8 and 11. Some places, if you have a lot of concrete, you're up to about 18 to 24. What we're talking about there is micro REM. So really a low level radiation, nothing that we're concerned about as far as exposure to people. The default setting for this monitor is to rate. Again, what we're looking for is presence of background or atmospheric radiation. Depending upon where you're at, that number can fluctuate. If you look here right now, standing in the bay, we're at about 15 microrem an hour. That's the rate that the monitor is picking up. What I want you to think about is the rate is like your speedometer. It has the potential to decrease and increase as you're working. What we're looking for is high fluctuations in those numbers, particularly an increased number in your rate shows that we may have a problem. Our high rate for these monitors is set to 100 millirem per hour. Our low rate is set to 100 microrem per hour. You will notice with the monitor that there are different alarm sounds. The alarm becomes more intense as we increase that high rate. Rate for our responders, for Bernalillo County Fire Department, working in an offensive or defensive strategy. And again, if you look at our SOGs and PNPs, we work in a defensive posture. We're working at operations level for hazardous materials. To the top right, you'll notice a button that says dose. What I want you to think about here is this is the odometer of the meter. This is never going to decrease. This is just going to increase. What the dose is showing you is how much radiation this detector itself is receiving during this event. It's keeping track of you personally, how much radiation is making contact to the monitor. You'll see we're at 2.0 microrem right now, so we're nowhere near any dangerous level of radiation. Your dose rate is set at the high level of 10 rem per hour. Your low rate is set at 5 rem per hour. So we get the question a lot, well, hey, in rate, we go from millirem to microrem. That's a huge difference. So why is dose so close between 10 rem and 5 rem? What we want is the second we're hitting more than a rem level radiation, our personnel need to be aware that we're in a dangerous situation and now you have a potential for long-term effect. 5 rem at the low dose rate is telling you, hey, it's time to leave, you need to get out of here. If we're hitting 10 rem on that high dose rate, we need to get out of here even faster and we need to get people out of this area. So to recap, rate, your speedometer, you can see a fluctuation from low to high based on time, distance shielding, or what the material is you're dealing with. Dose, your odometer, will only increase the longer you're near the material. One thing we always want to do, if you're using this monitor and that dose rate activates at all, we want to monitor that. We want to take note of it and we want to have it documented for everybody that's been on scene. If that's 5 minutes, if that's 10 minutes, if that's 30 minutes, we need everybody's name that was on scene and we need to know what that dose rate was on the monitor. When you're done with the scene and we've tallied all the data from the monitor, you can go right back to here, press the off button, the monitor shuts off. Thank you for your participation. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to any of the hazardous materials team members. There will be more training in target solutions and through the academy. Thank you.